Welcome to Business Matters, a program produced by the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce in conjunction with ActonTV. I'm your host, Kathleen McDonald, Executive Director of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce. Business Matters is a program which features Chamber members and highlights information important to businesses in the Middlesex West community. And this show, we have the pleasure of welcoming to Business Matters Peter Mahler from Concord Teacakes. Welcome, Peter.
Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
I understand you're the co-owner of Concord Teacakes.
I am, yep. Judy Frisch and I, we each own 50% of Concord Teacakes.
Wow, that's a nice, even split.
It is, yes. Yep.
Tell me a little bit, I understand Concord Teacakes has been around since 1984?
That's correct, it is. In 1984, Judy started selling cakes out of the back of her car. She rented space at the Elks Club because back in those days you couldn't have a residential kitchen, so you had to rent space from a commercial kitchen. And she did that for about 2 years, and then she opened up a commercial kitchen in Beharrell Street in Concord, which is now gone. And then in 1993, she opened the retail store, which is right in the middle of the village across from the train station. And so it's been there, it's been expanded once, and so it's been there since, the store's been there since 1993, wow. Operating. Yeah.
When and how did you get involved with Concord Teacakes?
I've been involved in Concord Teacakes now for 5 years, and back in 2011, Judy was looking for a business person to come in and help her manage the business. It had gotten to the point where her specialty was baking, and she really needed help on the business end. And so she hired me as a consultant in 2011, and I came in and put some systems in place. We wrote a business plan, and I enjoyed it so much that in 2013, she decided that she wanted me to invest in the company. And it was at that point we knew we were going to have to move our commissary out of Beharrell Street because they were going to be tearing it down to put in new apartments. And so I decided to buy into Concord Teacakes and become a co-owner with Judy. And we invested in a new property on Domino Drive, which is our new commissary. It's a 5,000 square foot facility. And that's where we do just about all of our baking. And it's worked out really, really well. And that was in 2014, January, actually 2 years ago now, that we moved in there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of those delicious baked goods that Concord Teacakes makes.
Sure. Judy's main product line when she first started was chocolate bundt cakes and scones and shortbread cookies. And those were kind of three of her trusted recipes. And Judy's very unique because what she does, she researches all these recipes. She goes back and looks in history and finds out how people used to make these things. And then she researches them, and then she perfects them, and then it will go into production. And she just does a wonderful job. She's very creative. She loves working at night because that's when she says her best juices flow, as she says. And it's been great. And we've been able to expand the product line tremendously. I mean, we probably carry about 50 different product items. And we also wholesale those out. So we wholesale those out to retail stores too.
So who are some of your business partners?
Three of our biggest partners are Idlewild Farms in Acton, Pemberton Farms in Cambridge, and Neilio's Gourmet in Lexington. And all three of those are really gourmet specialty shops. And they're our three largest customers. And then we have a lot of customers that are kind of seasonal, like we do a lot of farm stands. And this past year, for example, we put on Farmer Dave's, and Farmer Dave's has he runs 3 orchards, one in Dracut, one in Tewksbury, and one in Westford. And we added him on this year. Chippin Farms in Bedford is another one. Cucurbit Farms in Acton is another one. And but then we also do what we call OEMing. And so what we do is we will go and we'll have another company come to us, in this case, both catering services, and they ask us to make products for them. They'll put their name on them. And one of those is Baker's Best in Newton, and the other is Blue Ribbon Barbecue, and they're in Newton and Arlington. And we actually make products for them and actually in the case of Blue Ribbon, it's their recipe. So they give us the recipe, and we produce that recipe in our commissary, and then they put their own name on it.
Do you see that part of your business growing?
It really has over the last couple of years. Both those accounts were put on recently, and yes, we could see that happening more because we now have the brand new production facility where we can do that.
What value has Concord Teacakes derived from those partnerships and collaborations? I know that you've developed with the business community and with the community at large.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that we joined the Middlesex Chamber just 4 years ago when I first came to the company. We've always been a member of the Concord Chamber, but I realized that the Middlesex West Chamber really offered more opportunities for us because it's an 8-town chamber. And we joined, and for example, Chamber Meal. Chamber Meal is offered from the Chamber, and what it does is it takes new residents that move into the 8-town area every month, and they send out a postcard, and the postcard has a little coupon on it from Concord Teacakes. But we follow up on that. They give us the list of new residents, and we send out our own postcard a month later, and on that we offer them to come in for a free coffee and a free cupcake. Welcome to the neighborhood. And we have a fantastic return on that. We'll get 20–25% return on those cards. And that's all been through the Chamber. And so that's one example. And then some of the other business collaborations that we've been able to do is, and one is that we're in the process of updating our IT systems. And Not Your Problem IT Services, which is a chamber we found through the Chamber, has come in and redone the whole system. And so now we set up a whole new call system. We're integrated where the store and the commissary really they're like being next door to each other instead of a mile apart. And that's one example of how the Chamber has helped us tremendously. Another example that I can think of is that the Homesteader magazine. Mm-hmm. And once again, that goes out to new homeowners. And we started advertising that in 2011 and seen a great return on that with new people moving into the 8-town region.
It's all about businesses helping businesses, and the Chamber being there to help see the business community and individual businesses grow and thrive, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. And the other thing that's nice about the Chamber gets involved in the community itself. And so Concord Teacakes, since I've been there, has always been able to donate to nonprofits. Give you a couple of examples. The Children's Museum is a great sponsorship for us. Home Goods in Acton, another one. We also sponsor the summer concert series at Nara Park in Acton. And so it's been a good partnership with the Chamber and with the communities that we've now expanded into.
That's wonderful. That's a great testimony.
Yeah.
You, as Concord Teacakes, were honored by the Chamber in 2015 with a very prestigious award, the Business of the Year Award. How did that, what was the effect of that award for you as well as for the business?
Well, for Judy and I, it was just kind of accumulation of what we've been trying to do over the last 4 or 5 years, and that is to become more involved in the community and to really associate with Chamber members and community members on many levels. And we were very honored to get that award, and we just couldn't believe how many phone calls we got calling us up and congratulating us and telling us how deserved it was from what we've been doing.
Well, you have a very loyal customer base, and I can understand why people would congratulate you on such a wonderful award and such a nice honor. How about plans for the future?
We do. We do have a business plan that we wrote, and the commissary that we had to build out costs quite a bit of money, and so that was just 2 years ago. And so we're still in the process of paying for the new commissary. But our plans call for opening a new retail location somewhere in the metropolitan Boston area within the next 2 years. And so we're actively looking at that, and but it's in the plan. Let me put it that way.
How about new products? Anything on the...
New products are almost a daily adventure at Concord Teacakes. Judy first just loves working on new recipes, and she does, besides doing baking, she also does our catering up at the store. And so besides looking at baked goods, she also looks at entree recipes and appetizer recipes, and she really is truly a very creative person. And she goes in at night and she'll spend night on the internet researching recipes, trying them out, and trying to come up with a production that we can use. Because she'll take it from a very small batch volume and bring it into a production volume for us. And it's very, very, it's very interesting how she does all this.
It seems like such a wonderful partnership.
It
that's
is,
been
yeah.
developed.
Yeah, the two of us really get along quite well. She's a night owl, and I'm not. So she'll come in at midnight, and I'll come in about 7 in the morning. We have about 3 hours of time where we interface, and that's when we have our staff meetings with our managers, and it works out well. And she gets to go home, and I get to take care of all the staff problems, and she'll come back in and work more on her recipes. And so it's a very good combination that's worked out over the last 4 years. And it really is by chance, because she hired me, and I was I had other customers that I was doing consulting for, and I never thought I would own a bakery, let me put it that way. So it's worked out very, very well. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful success story with us and with our viewers, and we wish you a very prosperous and happy new year.
Well, thank you, and thank you to the Chamber for all you do for us.
Thank you, Peter. Just a quick reminder to you about some Chamber events that are coming up. In February, on the 4th, which is a Thursday, we have our wonderful annual award celebration and scholarship fundraiser that will take place at the Holiday Inn Boxborough from 5 to 9. We strongly encourage all of you to attend this wonderful celebration of showcasing the stars in our community. So if you're interested in tickets, please go to our website, which is www.mwcoc.com, or call us at the Chamber at 978-263-0010. Thank you so much, Peter, and we'll be right back out for the second half of our program with our guest, Joe Badenhoff from TD Bank. Welcome back to Business Matters. We have the pleasure of welcoming to Business Matters now Joe Badenhoff, who's the store manager of ActonTV Bank. Welcome, Joe, and Happy New Year.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathleen. Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you so much. How long have you been with TD Bank?
I've been with TD Bank about 4.5 years now. So, entered in the Waltham location and spent over the last 3 years in the Acton location.
Very good. I know that the tagline for TD Bank is America's most convenient bank. What does that really mean?
Well, TD Bank really, when it came together in 2007 from two mid-sized regional banks to what it is, they decided that they wanted to concentrate on convenience. So they came up with a tagline, and then the first thing they did is we became 7 days a week. We were the first bank to go to 7 days a week. Really only closed a few holidays at that time, really Christmas and New Year's and 2 others, that was it. So open all the time, just available, open early, open late, just really trying to make sure that we were there for our customers so we can be as convenient to their needs as humanly possible.
And I noticed that TD Bank is also known as a store. Can you explain that reasoning?
Well, it comes down to the convenience model. When these two mid-sized regional banks came together, they had to become TD Bank and not what their old names were. And they adopted the tagline, and the CEO at the time, Barrett Masrani, he came up with a concept that you're going to change how everyone thinks about it to help them get used to the hour changes. So he made it a requirement. We are now stores. You were to refer to yourself as a store. All the titles are related to a store. And that's why instead of a traditional branch manager, anyone in my position is a store manager. And it was more to get everyone a little bit more acclimated to. We're 7 days a week and here for our customers like a traditional retail store.
And what are some of the services that make TD Bank America's most convenient bank?
Well, I mean, the number one service is obviously our hours. So every day but Sunday, open 8 a.m., Sundays we're open for 4 hours at 11, and then Thursdays and Fridays we're open until 7. We actually, all of our locations, we unlock the doors 10 minutes early, and we never lock them until 10 minutes after the hour on the door. Most TD locations have a free coin counting machine for customers, Visa gift cards with no activation fee for customers. You can buy and sell foreign currency at a low cost. But all those things add up to just what we make available in terms of hours. And even if we're closed, our call centers are 24/7, 365 days a year, and then our online and mobile banking platform is incredibly user-friendly.
Incredibly convenient.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. What types of banking do you handle at the Acton store?
So the Acton location handles pretty much every form. Another thing that we do to be convenient is that myself, as well as other members of my staff, we're licensed to be able to talk about home lending. We have our NLS numbers, so mortgages and home equities we can do. I do small business development and lending as well. And basically, we just use business partners to support the efforts, but we do it all in the location. So from personal to business to commercial, we work with all of it in the location, so that way any customer, no matter their need, they have a point of reference. It's not immediately being sent to someone else to interact on what their requirement is.
So you're helping customers with a full span of products and services.
Yes.
Any other products that you haven't discussed at this point that are primary to TD Bank?
I mean, there's a number of different things that the banks offer, and a lot of banks offer the same thing. We have a fantastic home equity product that we're allowed to do in the locations, and we're fantastic operators in the medical dental field. So we love helping doctors and dentists with their practices. If you spend any time in the banking industry, you'll learn that every bank develops kind of an affinity in certain areas, and we just seem to have developed a good experience track, including myself, with medical dental.
Isn't that interesting, that specialization?
Yep.
Yeah, very good. It seems to me nowadays that lending has become more difficult. Why do you think that is?
Well, the easy answer is 2005 to 2009. Anyone that got any form of personal lending in 2005, if they were in 2015 to go through the process again, they are consistently and constantly surprised by what's different. The more accurate and technical answer is the industry as well as the government cleaned up a lot of the loopholes that allowed the financial crisis of 2008 to really exacerbate. There were no documentation standards. There was no real set process. It was, oh, if you want money, you can have it. And it's now to fix the problem and to standardize it. What's required now is so different that it really does shock people. And I like working with those customers to make them understand, like, you may not enjoy the process. We're fantastic. When you're done, it'll be fantastic. You just have to understand that we're required to go through a process. And it may seem very detail-oriented, but it has to be, because it was the only way to fix what was wrong before the crisis of 2008. And I say this all the time, anyone who hasn't done any form of lending since before 2007, if that's the last time that you did it and now you're doing it now, choose someone you're going to be comfortable with, because someone like me needs to explain to you and stay with you through the process, so you're not surprised when we ask for something that just seems a little picky. No, we have to make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed. No lender is any longer going to allow themselves to not dot that I just to close a deal.
So you work with your customers every step of the way in terms of the lending process.
I'm very dedicated to being a part of the lending process. The most useful I am, whether it's one of my staff's deals or one of my deals, is I handle the explanations. There are people in roles of processors and underwriters and appraisers. They're all doing their thing. My greatest benefit is just advising. Just making people understand where we are and why we're there. And that's the thing that I find that is kind of missing when people are going through the lending process, is that they're kind of told what's going on. They're not explained why it's going on.
And an educated consumer is the best consumer, isn't it?
Well, they're
in
the most
whatever
comfortable.
industry.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you really believe fully in educating your
Yes, I do.
customer. Excellent. Excellent.
Knowledge is power.
Excellent. Yes. And speaking of that, many people, we hear time and again about our credit scores. And from a banker's standpoint, what suggestions do you have in terms of how people can improve their credit scores?
Credit is an incredibly unknown for most Americans in terms of how it works and why it works. And the number one thing I can tell people is you get a free credit report every year. That credit report does not come with your score. And they're written in a language that looks like English, but it is hard to read. Guys like me, we've been trained, we know what to look for. But pulling your credit report and making sure that the credit cards and the loans that are listed on there are actually yours. The next thing that I tell people, don't be afraid of credit cards, just understand how they work. The largest chunk of any individual's credit is actually their payment history. And when you interact with someone that lives a completely cash existence, or they have 3 credit cards but they never use them, and they've been led to believe that that's actually going to help them. No, it's not. If you have 5 credit cards, you should be using them and paying them every single month. The more payment history you have, the greater benefit it's going to have. And there's a major misconception in that in terms of not using. You spend $20 on the credit card and pay it off. And then the last thing that I really try to get to people is, if you're trying to do something with lending, if you've never done it before, then you don't have a history for it. What that means is, if you go apply for an auto loan and you've never had an auto loan before, there's no history in that product. And the thing that I don't think people understand is there's thousands upon thousands of ways to actually calculate a credit score. So when you look up your FICO, that's actually just one way out of tens of thousands of ways to do it. And if you go into TD and apply for a credit card, or you go to a dealership and apply for an auto loan, they're going to be 2 different credit scores. And because the auto dealer cares more about your history with auto payments, and we're going to care more about your history with the product you're applying for. And so maximizing all the different ways you're building your credit, and there's a lot, that's the smart way to interact with how you're building your credit.
Tell me a little bit about yours and TD Bank's involvement in the local community.
TD Bank's very dedicated to being involved in its local community, and the nice part is they allow the local teams to kind of pick the best places for them to be involved. So since I've been in the Acton store for over 3 years, we've participated in a number of different community events. I'm a member of the Acton Box Rotary, as well as a member of the Chamber, and a few other organizations to get our brand out there, to be involved. We've participated in programs that gave money to local food banks, as well as been sponsors for Middlesex West Dash and Bash, to the Acton Recreation Department Summer Concert Series. But we like to be out there. We're not an organization that just likes to wait for everything to come into the bank. We want our name out there. We want people to know that we're involved. And we think that a bank should be an active participant in the community.
That's very important.
Very
Totally
much.
believe in that. And in 2015, you were awarded a very prestigious honor of being the Rising Star Award, receiving that from the Chamber. And what did that award mean to you? What did receiving that mean to you?
To be honest, I was really surprised when I found out that I had won. I guess I hadn't considered it. It was a great honor. Some of the past winners are close friends of mine, people that I enjoy interacting with and learning from. But it was a really great honor to kind of go through that, to feel recognized of the work that's been going into the community and how hard I have been working. But it was also an affirmation that I can't do what I do without my team. I have a fantastic team in Acton. I've been very blessed with them, and we work very well together. And it's allowed me to receive some of the credit that I need to make sure I share with them. But it was a great honor, and it's just an affirmation of what we can do in the community.
Well, thank you, Joe. Your involvement is stellar.
Thank you.
In Acton and in the Middlesex West community at large. And in addition, we wish you and TD Bank in Acton and elsewhere much success in the new year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome. Our next program in February will feature two more chamber members who also have received awards in 2015. One chamber member was awarded the honor of Chamber Member of the Year, and the other the Outstanding Nonprofit Executive Director of the Year. The Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce is an 8-town regional chamber serving the towns of Acton, Boxborough, Concord, Carlisle, Littleton, Maynard, Stowe, and Westford. The Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce would like to acknowledge and thank our broadcast sponsors, Emerson Hospital and the Westford Regency Inn and Conference Center. We look forward to seeing you next month, and thank you for watching Business Matters.